Hello friends, I'm Yamini. Welcome to my YouTube channel. This is my first ever video with voiceover. I'm planning to start a series on algae topic where I'll start with basic introduction of algae, its characteristic, and slowly we will move on to different type of algae. Likewise, I'll start with other topics like fungi, bryophytes, etc. This will be a very useful series for you for your various semester exams like university exams of Delhi University, BHU, AMU. It will also be very useful for your CUET PG exam. It will also be useful for your UPSC botany optional, for your NEET exam and your class 11 NCERT. So let us start. Talking about the term algae, it was first given by Linnaeus. As you can see in this point that the term algae was given by Linnaeus, and father of Indian phycology is M.O.P. Iyengar. Now phycology, what is phycology? It is the study of algae. Now what are algae? Algae are chlorophyll containing autotrophic thalloid plants. They have mostly unicellular sex organs without jacket of sterile cells around them. In them, embryo is not formed after gametic union. Instead, spores are formed. They show distinct alteration of generation. They are surrounded by mucilaginous sheet and below it, cell wall is present, which is made up of cellulose and pectin. This is important. It is a one-liner MCQ as well, that the cell wall of algae is made up of what? So it is made up of cellulose and pectin, but mainly made up of cellulose, mannose, galactans, and minerals like calcium carbonate, CaCO3. Now, on the basis of structure, the algae are thalloid. Now, what does this term thalloid mean? Thalloid means that the plant body is not differentiated into root, stem, and leaves, and tissue system is also absent. On the basis of nutrition, algae are photoautotrophic. Autotrophic organisms, as we all know from the basics, that autotrophic organisms are those organisms which can prepare their own food. So algae are also autotrophic and they are photoautotrophic, means they need sunlight or light. Talking about the classification of algae is mainly based on the pigments, the type of pigments that are present. Like we have chlorophyce, phyophyce, and rhodophyce. Chlorophyce is commonly a green algae. Phyophyce is your brown algae and rhodophyce is your red algae, and they are classified on the basis of the pigments. Now you have a look at the pigments which are present in the chlorophyce. They are chlorophyll A and B. In phyophyce we have A, C and fucoxanthin. In rhodophyce we have A, D and phycoerythrin. Type of stored food in chlorophyce is starch. In phyophyce is mannitol and laminarin, and in rhodophyce is fluoridian starch. The cell wall of chlorophyce is made up of cellulose, of phyophyce is made up of cellulose and algin, and of rhodophyce is made up of again cellulose. Number of flagella in chlorophyce are generally 2 to 8, which are equal and apical. In phyophyce, the number of flagella are 2, unequal and lateral, and in rhodophyce they are absent. This is important. Okay, so now this topic is very important, this classification, as one-word questions or your MCQs are commonly asked in various exams from this topic. Talking about the reproduction in algae, algae reproduce in 3 ways: vegetative, asexual, as well as sexual reproduction. Vegetative reproduction takes place by binary fission and fragmentation. Asexual reproduction takes place by various means. For favorable conditions, they have zoospores, and for unfavorable conditions, they have aplanospores, hypnospores, and echinates. Talking about the zoospores, these are the motile spores, and aplanospores are the non-motile spores. The question here generally comes to differentiate between the zoospores and the aplanospores. Now, sexual reproduction, in male we have antheridium, and in females we have oogonium, and they are required for the sexual reproduction. The sex organ of algae are unicellular and jacketless, but in green algae, chara. So this chara is an exception. So green algae chara, they are multicellular and jacketed. Male sex organ of chara is called globule, and the female sex organ of chara is called nucleule. I'll add the images. Plant body of algae is haploid, so sexual reproduction takes place through zygotic meiosis, and so they have haplontic life cycle. But in brown algae, the plant body is diploid. Reproduction type, we can see isogamy and isogamy, as well as your oogamy. So these are the examples. You can have a look. In isogamy, the gametes are morphological and physiologically similar. In anisogamy, they are distinct. Male gamete will be smaller and active, whereas the female gamete will be large and sluggish, hence called macrogamete. Examples of isogamous are Ectocarpus, Spirogyra, and example of anisogamous are your Pindorina. Talking about the oogamous, Chlamydomonas, Wucheria, Sargassum, etc. They are large non-motile eggs and there are small motile sperms, and this is the most advanced form of sexual reproduction. As I told you before also that there will be a question generally is asked on the differentiation between the zoospores and the aplanospores. So here you can see these are the differences. The zoospores are motile, whereas aplanospores are non-motile. They are naked, 2 to 4 flagella or more are present. An eye spot is present, formed by the protoplasm. It can be haploid or diploid, and they are formed during night and liberated in the morning. And moreover, they are formed during the favorable conditions. Talking about the aplanospores, as I told you, they are non-motile. They are found in terrestrial algae. Example is Eulothrix. They differ from zoospores in having a distinct wall and absence of flagella. As you already know now, each cell may form single aplanospore or its protoplasm may divide to form many aplanospores. There are other spores as well like hypnospores, tetraspores, autospores and echinates. So this was all for today. You can have a look at these spores. In the next topic, I'll cover different types of algae according to their habitat, like aquatic algae, terrestrial algae, etc.